It's quite a story, son. Quite a story.
You're telling the truth.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2016 creature feature, The Sighting. The film is co-written by David Blair and Adam Pittman, who also directed the film, and Adam Pittman starred in the film, along with Nathaniel Peterson, Rian Jarrell and James Perkins. Right. Now, the film follows a character called Travis Brooks. He is heading to Canada with his friend in a car. They decide to take a shortcut, or they are encouraged to take a shortcut by some guy at a gas station. And while on this shortcut, they witness what they believe to be Sasquatch. They basically end up running for their lives. His best friend ends up missing, and he ends up kind of back in society, trying to figure out what's happened, trying to put together a search and rescue team, but no one will believe him. Ultimately, he ends up going back there. That goes desperately wrong. And then he is then accused by the local police, potentially, that he actually may be the killer. Right, what are my thoughts on The Sighting? Well, I was initially interested in this because I'd seen it flashed about on found footage, with these found footage forum things that I follow. So I thought, oh, okay, a Bigfoot found footage film, I'm interested. And then I found out it's not found footage. I thought, well, okay. Well, I'm still interested. I like Bigfoot films, and, you know, I could use it as a creature feature review for the channel. So I was still interested in checking this one out. I looked at some of the reviews and stuff. They weren't glowing by any stretch of the imagination, so I was not expecting a masterpiece. My expectations were definitely lowered going into this one. And while I can understand quite a few of the low scores for this film, because some of the performances aren't what you would describe as the best here and there, it is flawed here and there. It's also quite a thoughtful and thought-provoking film that offers a few different scenarios for you to kind of play around with as an audience member. Now, for a low-budget film like this, I like that. Now, sometimes these low-budget films, they will over-convolute plot and stories by like putting these really ridiculous plot devices in there and unnecessary characters, and it all becomes messy. And thankfully, they don't do that here with this. They present a very basic story, you know, Travis and his best friend driving up to Canada. They spot what they think is a Sasquatch. The film gives you an explanation of what it could be. Is it a real Sasquatch, or is it a local legend that I'm not going to spoil if you're going to watch the film, that is actually something else that kind of developed into the Sasquatch legend? Or is it, as the police think it is later on in the film, is it Travis himself, who is in fact a lunatic serial killer? And it presents all the arguments in quite a compelling way. So you never really come away from the film with the answers that you want. And if that's a problem for you sometimes with films, then you probably won't get very much out of this at all. But I like the way the scenarios were presented, in a sense of, you know, is it Sasquatch? Is it this local legend? Or is it that he is in fact the killer? And they all made sense. So you could come away convinced that no, it's Sasquatch. There's too much evidence to suggest it's not Sasquatch. And then you could also come away and think, oh, it's definitely Travis. He's definitely done this. The guy's a loony. So I like that. I thought that the answers that it presented, it kind of left you to make your own mind up, and I thought that was nicely done, not going to lie. Now, in regards to this being what you would describe as a traditional creature feature, it's not really. While you do see glimpses of the Sasquatch, you don't get an up close and personal view of them. And that again is done for a reason in the film, and the reason is, as they explain the legend of the Sasquatch, they present another idea, not the fact that it's this huge giant beastie thing. It could be something else that has been over the years, kind of twisted and turned into the Sasquatch legend. So that's part of the reason you don't see a definitive close-up of this creature, so to speak, or creatures. It goes down a much more subliminal route, if you like, and lets you make up your own mind. So I think for a low-budgeted film, I think it's quite smartly presented. It's as I said, it's definitely flawed, but there's actually some quite interesting directional choices here in regards to how some of the scenes are shot. I thought they were quite creative in how they did it. There's a couple of things in the film that you just kind of like. It starts off the film, if you like, with a massacre, and that's kind of found footage. That bit, that's probably why people got confused. It's like this massacre at the beginning of the film, and these are people that Travis knew. And then it jumps forward to him graduating and going to Canada with his friend, and just kind of like, hang on, what was that massacre all about then? And it does come into play later in the film, but you just kind of like, that didn't make a great deal of sense. And why is that there? So, like I say, there are some storytelling choices here that don't necessarily work brilliantly. But for me, when the film actually starts with these guys getting in the car and going to Canada, that for me felt like the start of the film. The other bit, like the massacre at the beginning of all these like, college friends or school friends, whatever you want to call them, it seemed a bit tacked on. I'm not sure we needed that, and if we were going to get that, it probably would have made sense later in the film, because there's, well, whatever. It's difficult because I don't want to give spoilers away, really, if you are going to check this one out. So while I do think, as I've said, I think this film is definitely flawed, there are issues with it. If you are a forgiving film goer, in a sense of you don't mind low budget here and there, you don't mind some flaws here and there, but at the very core of this, I think it's telling an interesting story, and it's letting you, the audience member, it's treating you like a grown-up, if you like, and letting you make your own mind up about what you think has been going on. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on The Sighting. Let me know if you've seen the film, what you think of it, and I will, of course, be back with plenty more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.